What a marvellous day and a marvellous setting for Cash in the Celebrity Attic. Now, this is the programme that searches the homes of the well-known. Then we take all the treasures and collectibles that we find off to auction, and we try to raise money for really good causes. Today, we're about to meet someone whom I think you could classify as an international man of mystery. Now, the late Michael Jackson classified our guest today as one of his closest confidants. In the past, his psychic abilities have been used to try to predict the results of sporting events, and he's also helped the police all around the world to track down serial killers. Now, you probably know him for his special touch when it comes to bending spoons. Come on, you've got to know exactly who it is by now. Today, I'm in Berkshire to meet the enigma that is Uri Geller. He's a man who provokes strong opinions. One of the world's most celebrated, investigated, and controversial entertainers, Uri is famous for his apparent ability to bend spoons with the power of his mind. It has certainly secured for him a very comfortable living. One thing is certain, his irrepressibility. From his first appearance 4 decades ago as a nightclub entertainer in Israel, Uri's a man who refuses to be kept down. Coming up on Cash in the Celebrity Attic, I save an antique from Uri Spoonacy. That's lunacy with spoons.
I'm going to instill my energy into this spoon.
Bend it, for goodness sake. We may
Positive
not get it.
energy. No, I'm putting...
I'll give you a cheap spoon to do it. Uri shows us his who's who in the world of spoons.
This spoon belonged to James Dean. Elvis Presley gave me this one. This was John Lennon's.
And when we get to auction, just what is Uri up to? Keep watching until the hammer falls.
You all done?
How wonderful to be able to visit Uri's extensive mansion, along with our expert John Cameron, so that we can rummage for things to auction for a really good cause. While John gets stuck in, I dodge this strangely attired Cadillac to say my hellos.
Gloria!
Hi, good to see you.
Hey.
I'm so excited about coming to your house again. How are you?
You look amazing.
I know who Shippy is. Of course I know who Shippy is. I thought actually, Uri, you might like to give him the big introduction.
Yeah, Shippy is my manager-in-law. That's a good title.
Brother-in-law and manager.
Yeah,
is that how they bill you now, Shippy?
Yeah, that's how they...
After all, I'm married to his sister.
That's true, a beautiful woman at that. Well, of course, in a professional capacity, I've been here a few times over the years. In fact, I've known you since 1983. So, what are you going to raise the money for today through Cash?
I would like the money to go to the Red Cross.
For a particular reason, I mean, apart from the obvious?
Absolutely, they're working all around the world. Unfortunately, they're busy all the time.
How much do you reckon you might raise?
It's really hard to put a figure to it, but let's say £500. Okay. Is that okay?
That seems good to you, Shippy?
I think so. I think it's very
great.
fair, yes.
For a very good cause, £500.
It is.
I'm dying to have a look at all the new sculpture in the garden, all the changes that are happening. So we've got a lot to talk about.
Come on, I'll take you to the entrance hall after you.
Okay, I'll go this way. Fine, thank you.
Let's go.
An antique hunter for the last 20 years, John has been using his mental powers to home in on the energy transmitted by whatever is in this box.
Ah, John, you found my decanter.
I have.
He's like a little ferret, this one. Nothing's safe, you know. What a wonderful colour of blue.
This is the cobalt blue. It is an amazing colour. Look at it. And then the motif is bent spoons, and we used a dye that is over 120 years old. And if you put it down, we created the bottom of the decanter kinetic. So this will move now for maybe 3 to 5 minutes. Anyhow, and then I have the papyrus certificate that correlates to the serial number. And my little book of mind power. And I will sign that for everyone.
Now, John, you see, you could do with this, couldn't you? Your little book of mind power.
John, quickly, open it, any page, and read it out.
Okay, step by step, stay steady and on the target.
There you go.
On the target, stay steady.
That's incredible. That's paranormal.
That is definitely paranormal.
That is wonderful. I love it.
I love the idea, John, don't you, of the spoons around as the motif, because I didn't pick that up originally.
Well,
It's only when you look at it that you see.
I didn't see that, and I noticed the cut glass. Beautiful how they create this. I mean, this is hand-blown.
Yes.
And they take the molten glass, or metal as it's known, a clear piece. The glass blower blows that into shape and rolls it. And he has to keep it rolling to keep that shape. And then the glass cutter cuts through to expose that clear layer. And I think held up to the light, you really do see it at its best effect.
Now, hard to put a price on this, I should imagine.
Well, I'll have a go. It's a difficult thing to value. A nice present for somebody, a lot there, in a beautiful fitted box. I'm going to say 80 to 120 pounds.
The decanter is from a range of products that Uri designed and marketed under his own name back in the 1980s. They're no longer produced and hence very collectible. Now, while Uri and Shippy use positive thought patterns to track down more items for auction, I'm really concentrating on this pool pottery plate. Like the decanter, the plate was designed by Uri himself. Dating from the early 1980s, our expert gives it a value of between 50 and 80 pounds. Since Uri worked with pool pottery, the business has stopped trading. Now you'd think he might have just seen that coming. But while I'm kept busy with ornaments, Shippy brings John a fascinating story.
Oh yeah, I have something to show you that I think will make a great item.
Let's have a look, Shippy.
This one.
Bring this out. Well, that's interesting.
Yeah, this is about the Titanic. We got it at an auction, I remember, quite a few years back. And hopefully that can raise
some good money.
Some good money.
OK. Well, this is definitely something we can sell at auction. There always has been an interest in Titanic ever since she sank. It's a newspaper front page. As we can see, it's April the 17th. That's 3 days after she sank. But you can see that, obviously, she dominated the front pages for several weeks after that. So in terms of desirability, it's the papers from the very first day. And down at the bottom here, this is quite poignant. We've got two husband and wives, this one here, Colonel J. Astor drowned, Mrs. Astor saved, and then next to her, Mrs. Daniel Marvin saved, and Mr. Daniel Marvin missing. It's like any major event, people tend to keep the newspapers.
Ah, OK.
But still, it's nicely framed, and I would be happy to put this into auction at about 50 to 100 pounds. You OK with that?
Give it a try, sure. I mean, I can't recall how much we paid for it, but why not?
OK, well, we'll take that as a good find, but should we see what else we can find around the house? Come on.
Uri's extensive house and grounds are scattered with sculptures that he's collected over the years. John's determined to leave no inch unchecked. In one of the garages, he finds this fold-away bike. This, too, is an Uri design. The most apt description for our host is irrepressible. From plates to bikes, there's scarcely a household object that he hasn't tried to redesign. It's likely to fetch between 50 and 100 pounds. But now it's time to look at Uri's Garden of Delights. Now, you see, I drive in through your gate today and immediately I see that lovely piece of sculpture, that lovely ball of marble, or whatever it is. But you have endless artwork in your garden. It's lovely.
Yes, you know, I've been living here almost 30 years. The stainless steel obelisk, I created that to coincide with a pyramid. The pyramid is an amazing structure where I inspire sick children.
Let me talk about your youth, though. I know that you were born in Israel, but where did your parents come from originally?
My father was Hungarian, my mother was Austrian, but she was born in Berlin, moved to Hungary, where she met my dad. As you know, my mother was related to Sigmund Freud from Vienna. During the Nazi reign and the war, they escaped Hungary, sailed to Israel. They lived in Jaffa, and I was born in Tel Aviv into a very poor family.
A lot of your career has been spent talking to people about, you know, positive of mind, mind over matter. Anybody can do it. You know, you talk about the pyramid, the fact that you influence children. But at what point in your childhood were you aware that maybe you had extra positive powers?
Well, I was, 5 years old when I first bent a spoon. And
for what reason?
No, it just bent in my hand while I was eating soup. Magicians and skeptics and scientists said it's not real, it's all sleight of hand and chemicals and all that. They were my unpaid publicists. And I'll never forget the day when David Dimbleby, the BBC, invited me to do the first show. He suddenly picks up a fork or a spoon and he holds this I think it was a fork. He hands it to me. And I take the spoon or the fork and I held it on the thin part. And I looked into the camera and I said, you people at home, go and get a spoon. Go and get your broken watches. Everyone rushed to the kitchen. Let me remind you now what happened. I held the spoon gently and I started stroking it very, very gently. And I was saying in my mind, bend and melt. Yes, it's beginning. Now you hold it, hold here firmly, and look what will happen. The metal is, you see the metal is becoming soft, almost like plasticine. Look, let me show you. And there's absolutely no heat produced. And it's gonna go, it's just gonna go. There, and touch it, cold. Do you know what happened? When that spoon melted on the BBC, November 1972, the BBC's telephone system blew up because millions of you were calling in a panic. Oh, my spoon bent, my watch started ticking. And that's what made Uri Geller.
Aren't we fortunate that Uri happened to find that spoon on the rockery? Well, we're halfway round our cosmic rummage, and so far our expert reckons we have found at least £230 worth of auction-worthy gear. Our host returns to hunt out more treasures in the house, while I catch up with John by the gazebo. He's found these wonderful vases in Uri's lockup. Now, John, I'm never quite sure whether I like Chinese vases or not. They're very pretty colourings, aren't they? But there are so many modern versions of the real thing, so where do these fit?
These are Chinese, as you've said. They are 20th century. They're modern, but I love them because they're nice and decorative and they're in very good condition. Now, they're known as cloisonné vases. Which
is what?
Well, it's a type of enamelling. It's a type of decoration which has its origins. I mean, go back to Roman times, enamelling, but the word cloisonné comes from France.
It's a lovely word, isn't it?
It is, cloisonné. Basically, these are metal pieces, bronze or brass, on the base. They're heavy, and they build up the picture on here with these little fine wires. Can you see those?
Oh, yes, I do.
Those create cells. Into those cells, they paint literally ground glass mixed with oil paint, so you have coloured pigments, which are made up of fine dust of glass.
Gosh.
Those are infilled, and you can see that some of them actually have shading to them.
I must admit, the thing that puts me off some Chinese vases is the gaudy aspect, the gaudy colours, but these are actually very pretty colours, aren't they?
They are.
Very
I
nice.
like them. I'd give them house room. I'm going to put an estimate of 100 to 200 because they're modern, but I think that they, you know, I'd be disappointed if they didn't push my
That's
upper
quite healthy,
estimates.
actually.
Yeah?
Yeah, I mean, bearing in mind we're looking for 500 overall. If we get 200 quid for these, it'd be marvellous. That's John's most enthusiastic estimate today, but is his 100 to 200 pounds estimate in quite the right ballpark?
In front of me here at 180, 190, 200.
To find out, you'll just have to keep watching. So far today, we've had a fascinating insight into the home life, the past, and indeed the friendships of Uri Geller. But we are still £170 short of our target. So it's time to push on with our rummage around this wonderful home. Shippy has found this board game, a reminder of just how big the Uri Geller phenomenon was. Players compete to find hidden shipwrecks and minerals using special powers or sensotrons. It could raise between £20 and £40 at auction. Then on the other side of the Geller mansions, I stumble on, of all things, a spoon. Guess what? This one is not bent. Meanwhile, the boys are admiring some hand-painted wall tiles.
So what's the story behind the tile?
When we came to live in England and we found this house, I found the tiles in a small Chelsea shop, and I was told by the owner that it used to be in a yacht owned by a Greek shipping mogul. But it's lovely, and we kept it on the wall because we didn't want to chisel it off.
So they reclaimed it?
Yes, they reclaimed it from
I'm
the
guessing
yacht.
I can't chisel this after
No
this.
way.
Sounds fascinating
Hey.
stuff, guys, but I tell you what, the viewer would never forgive me if I didn't find a spoon that we might be able to... I'm not going to ask you to bend it.
A straight
But
spoon.
Yeah, because this one looks too good.
Yeah, King George.
Is it?
The third. You know, I can't remember whether it was Sotheby's, Christie's, or Bonham, so I covered the three of them, but one of the auctions. I think it's a beautiful spoon. You know, let me tell you something quickly. A spoon is an artwork. Look at it. It's sensual. You put it in your mouth, you nourish your body with it, and it's just gorgeous.
Well, can I add a couple of things to that?
Tell us.
Well, we're talking back in the kind of 1300s. If you had a spoon, you were a wealthy person. You kept your spoon. There were no forks then. Now, interestingly, we have the cipher here of what looks like George III, but the spoon itself is silver-plated. Well, George III died in 1820, but silver plating in electroplating wasn't really developed until the 1850s, okay?
Really?
So this is probably from one of his households.
Yes.
So it would have been a later addition to the household and would have still been given the cipher.
Can I hire you to be on my shows? You know? I mean, I'm learning so much about spoons from you.
Well, we know you bought it at a big auction house.
And you know what? I'm going to instill my energy into this spoon.
Bend it, for goodness sake. We
Positive
may not get
energy.
it.
No, I'm putting...
I'll give you a
I'm
cheap
putting,
spoon to do it.
No, positive energy. So whoever gets this spoon will have amazing good luck.
How much, John?
I think they're going to be fighting over it now. Well, I'm going to say 40 to 60 as an estimate.
I don't know about you, but I could happily go through the rest of the show without another reference to spoons. I don't think that's going to be possible, though, in the present company. Meanwhile, Shippy is rummaging in the pyramid. Cosmic forces seem to be guiding him towards something. What could it be? It's a comic, but not just any old comic. In the May 1976 episode of Daredevil, our hero teams up with a character called Uri Geller to defeat their nemesis Mindwave. And how flattering for Uri to have been featured in an all-action adventure comic strip. This oblique view into the mind-boggling extent of Uri's past fame could gather another 20 to 40 pounds at auction. Now, it seems that Uri doesn't just bend spoons and other cutlery, he puts them to good use as well. He fashions hedges in their image, he offers them as votive offerings at the foot of obelisks, and he covers entire cars with them. Hey,
Here it is.
this is the famous
My
Cadillac.
1976 Cadillac.
Fantastic! And so where did you buy the Cadillac originally?
In New York, you know, to show off. I was that shallow then. And I brought the car here when we came to live in England, and I decided to rivet all the collection that I had, that I collected through the last 50 years. This spoon belonged to James Dean when he died in the Porsche.
Oh, my goodness. And what is this little blob on it?
It has his DNA because it was there's blood on it. Walt Disney.
Okay.
And look here, Elvis Presley gave me this one. He was a great believer in UFOs and the paranormal.
Yeah.
This was John Lennon's. We were good friends in New York.
You didn't bend that one for him then?
No, I didn't. This is King James I, a sealed spoon.
Okay.
This is Rasputin. Salvador Dali gave me this. When I bent a spoon for him, he freaked out. He locked himself in a room. This is in the Ritz Hotel in Barcelona. And then for 3 or 4 hours, then he opens the door and he walks out with his crystal ball.
How many do you reckon are on the car?
I think close to 5,000.
That's amazing.
I love the car.
And, I mean,
it goes to charities. You know, I raise money for charities with the car.
You have to tell me, this is a hard question, but if you had to pick out one spoon of this entire collection, which is really important to you, which one would it be?
I would go for Elvis Presley. And yeah, it's just
beautiful.
An incredible car.
Now, you were talking about Israel,
Yeah.
and of course, earlier in the programme, we were talking about the fact that you were born in Israel.
Yes.
But if we go back to 1967 and the Six-Day War, you actually ended up doing your national service in that war.
I was in the paratroopers.
Yeah.
We fought outside Jerusalem in Ramallah. And it was hard because I had, my men were dying left, right, center around me, and it was devastating, very tough. I became immensely spiritual after that. For instance, my children never had a toy gun in their house or a tank. It totally changed my life and my psyche at the war.
How do you think that you've changed as a man, as an individual, since then?
Well, look, Gloria, you know, I became famous out of necessity. I wanted to make money. I wanted my mother to stop working. We're very, very poor in Israel. And I went out to the world and made it. And of course, I was young. I was in my 20s, so I wanted to show off, hey, Uri Geller made it, you know. But then you change, you constantly change. You know that, Gloria, we all do.
So then it brings us to the Red Cross and the great work that they do. Do you feel that because you're a very changed person that there's more emphasis in you to do things for other people?
I think it's very important to give, no matter how much, even if it's a tiny, small amount, because it comes back to you tenfold. That's the laws of the universe.
And if we manage to raise the £500 and possibly more, what do you think that will do? How will the Red Cross use that?
Any money that is raised for any charity, and if it goes directly to the target rather than you know, to the administration and so on. That's fantastic.
We've just about enough time for one last look around this intriguing home. Who will find the next auction item, and will it be worth enough to take us over the edge? Yeah, I love it down here, actually. We're thinking, hi!
Hi.
We're enjoying the garden.
I've got this picture. I signed it. And it is an amazing picture because of the light effects, the ray coming out of my eye,
Yes.
straight into Michael's mind.
That's amazing. Was that just a freak thing on the
Freak thing,
camera?
yes,
Yeah.
unless it was paranormal, I don't know.
But you're not claiming that.
See that?
Yeah.
Now, if I'm not mistaken, Uri, this looks like your sitting room. This is from inside the house, isn't it?
Yeah, that's in the main living room.
It was very well publicised at the time that Michael Jackson was your best man for the renewal of your vows.
Yes, I renewed my wedding vows, and right here, before the deck was here and the pyramid, we put a marquee, and the guests all came down, and Michael was late 2 hours. He had the ring in his pocket, so we couldn't get married without Michael here.
So did everybody just sort of have to hang
Yeah,
around for
everybody
2
was
hours?
just hanging around,
We
and
gave the
I told everyone to give the food.
Were you nervous, Shippy?
Yeah, we're pretty busy. I mean, the paparazzis were everywhere. So
Everywhere
it was really
there
crazy.
were photographers climbing up the hedge and the walls. We had an emergency helicopter on the helipad in case something happens. It was a fantastic
It was a
day.
frenzy.
It is an amazing story and an
Yes.
amazing picture, an original picture.
Absolutely.
And obviously you wouldn't have got Michael to sign this because you wouldn't have known the reason to have him to sign it. But this is a great picture. What I would like, because you've signed it, is I think if this had some inscription on the back, Uri, of the importance of this picture, the location, where it is, this is in the house, something personal on here, I think that would really boost it. At auction, I would say 40 to 60 is an estimate. But you really don't know with Michael Jackson memorabilia at the moment.
It's true.
If it's signed, it's taking off. But, you know, I think that there is a strong personal link here which should see it way past my estimate.
But in actual fact, on John's calculations, keeping things very small and being quite practical about it, so far you've got 450.
OK, well, I think staying with the positive thinking, which I've picked up on
Yes,
today,
I know.
and I'm going to go with that. Even though that's what it comes to, I'm being positive that we're going to hit the target.
Dear John, let's hope you're right and we do even better on auction day. But which item will help us the most? Will it be this rocking decanter in a fitted box, complete with Mind Power book and scroll? John's estimate is 80 to 120 pounds. Or these spectacular vases that at 100 to 200 pounds, John reckons could get a smashing result. Will Uri's unbent George III spoon bend their minds? Or at 40 to 60 pounds, at least their wallets? Still to come on Cash in the Celebrity Attic, spoon lunacy threatens to destroy one of our lots.
I'm going to bend that spoon for them. It's too expensive. No, a bent spoon becomes much more valuable.
That's what someone wants, isn't it?
And Uri extends his shtick to include auctioneering.
£90. Thank you.
90.
By the way, 110 is my favorite number.
All these secrets will be revealed. Yes! Well, I think you'll agree what an absolutely fantastic home that Uri and his family have, and how generous of him to donate some of his things for a truly good cause. Now, we brought them all to Chiswick Auctions in West London, so let's hope that everybody falls for Uri's charms and splash that cash when his items go under the hammer. Now, we find Uri and Shippy instilling some positive vibes into the 1976 Daredevil comic featuring Uri himself, of course. That's an offer. Uri and Shippy, good morning. Welcome to Chiswick.
Thank you.
I know you're no stranger to auctions. I know you buy now and again. What kind of auctions do you like?
Different kinds of auctions. The last one, I believe, was Christie's, and I bought Yves Saint Laurent's amazing chair.
I'm not going to be rude and ask you how much you paid for that, but I gather from the press that his stuff got huge amounts of money.
That one chair went for £15 million.
That is extraordinary, isn't it?
Yeah, close to $20 million. Unbelievable for one chair. But this is exciting, you know, and I really hope that we can raise a lot of money for charity. And my items are unusual. I mean, look at this one. This is a mid-70s comic called Daredevil, on which you know, I'm on the cover.
So will the incomparable Uri Geller and Shippy, his brother-in-law, come this way? Because the auction's about to begin. Uri's presence here today seems to have drawn quite a crowd. But will they like his lots? Kapow! Uri's superhero comic gets off to a super start.
I'm bid £20 straight off. I thought I might be at £20 then. Surely somebody else. £20 for the comic, 22, thank you. 25, 28, 30, 2, 35, 38, 40, 42, £42 then in the cheque at 42, 45 here, 48, 50, 55, 60, 65, £65 then in the cheque at 65. Anybody else? Is a charitable lot at £65. Anybody else want to come in at £65 then? You all done? 65 then. 65, 166, thank you.
Wow, £25 over our expert's maximum. Maybe positive thinking does work after all. Next up, the spoon that Uri instilled with positive energy. It's marked with the insignia of George III and was made sometime after 1845. Arguably the only spoon Uri hasn't tried to bend.
I'm going to bend that spoon for them.
It's too expensive.
No, a bent spoon becomes much more valuable.
That's what someone wants, isn't it?
I'm already bid £20 for this and 2 I'll take, with me at £20. 22, 25, 28, £28 at 30
on the screen.
front of me at £30. Doesn't seem a lot of money for the spoon at 30, 32, thank you. £32 now standing again in the cheque at 32. Anybody else for the spoon? 35 in the pink. Thank you, 38. You want 40, 42, 45, 48. £48 then. 48.
Not so bad, but not so good. Maybe I should have let him bend it after all. Hopefully we'll do better on the next one. Uri's designed the patterns on these 1980s pool pottery plates, a range that is now discontinued.
Any particular comment about this?
Yeah, it's a very beautiful design. The healing hand, limited edition. I don't think you can find it anywhere else anymore. Very, very beautiful. And it's numbered, by the way. There's an etched a number in it with a certificate.
Start me at 40, 30 then, surely somebody. £30 for the plate. I'm bid 30, thank you. 30 here. And 32 I'll take from somebody else. 32, thank you. 30, 35, 35, 38, 40. £40 for the lady in pink here. 42 there. 45, 48, 50, 55, 60, 65, 70. £70 then with the lady here at £70. Anybody else at £70 for the plate? For the pool plate at £70. I'm going to sell it then. £70 it goes. £70, 165.
It's okay. Yeah. That is within the estimate. You said, what, 50 to 80, John?
I did, yeah. See, what you have as well are people at auction. You've got a mixture of private people and dealers. Dealers are purely interested in making a profit.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, yes,
you
of
see,
course.
they can't sell that on and make
Yes.
a profit. You see, so we're relying, because of the special nature of the lots for the private buyers here, to want to buy a piece of a memory.
Well, if Uri's crockery did okay, how will the auction house react to these authentic Chinese pieces? Their 20th century design is cloisonné, that our expert valued at between £100 and £200.
Let me tell you how I got to buy them. My neighbor in New York was I.M. Pei. I.M. Pei has designed the pyramid over the Louvre, very renowned Chinese architect. And he introduced me to cloisonné. He explained me how it's done in China and so on. So I ordered that from China, specially made for me, I would say 30 years ago. But they decided to send me older ones. So maybe those could be 80 or 90 years old.
Yeah, they're certainly 20th century.
Nice lot. And I'm glad to say I've already got an £80 bid on them. So there's £80 with me, 85 in the room against commission then. 85 here on the end of the table. 90 I'll take from somebody else. 90, 95, 100, 110, 120, 130, 140, 150, 160, 170. 170 it is there at 170, 180 here. In front of me here at 180, 190, 200, 210, 220, 230, 240, 250, 260. Is that a yes? 270, 280, 290, 300, and 20, 340, 360.
It's good.
£360 it is there at the end of the table at 360. You all done? At £360. 360 then.
Brilliant.
Yes. Good one. £360, absolutely fantastic. And I've no doubt that Uri will make his target now. So how exactly are we doing? Well, I'm so excited because it's been a really interesting auction so far. And you wanted to raise around £400 to £500 on the day.
Yes.
Well, I'm very pleased to tell you that at the halfway point, you have £543 already. Isn't that good?
That's good.
Excellent. What do you think, Shippy?
Incredible.
It's wonderful. So you've gone past your target already.
Fantastic.
It's wonderful. Now, do you fancy having a look around the auction?
Yes.
Some other things?
Maybe I'll find something.
Okay. Now, if you want to have a go at selling at auction, just remember that auction houses do charge fees like commission, so always check the small print. And as we take our break, Uri couldn't resist having a look around. No stranger to auctions, he's here to sell in aid of a very good cause. But he soon notices something that triggers a happy memory.
I'm known to be attached to spoons, but they're souvenir spoons. I think it's a collection of, for instance, this spoon comes from Finland. Yeah, with probably the crest of the country, or maybe the city. Look at this one. This is an old spoon. It's from a castle somewhere. A spoon is beautiful. It's an art piece. You know, it's a tool to nourish your body. It's an ancient tool. Spoons go back 5,000 years. This is bent by Uri Geller, look.
Maybe he'd like to have bought them so that he could bend them, but at least they've been saved from this fate by a higher bidder at £28. Up next is a picture of Uri with his friend, the late Michael Jackson. Now, this photograph was taken on the day Uri renewed his wedding vows, and it comes complete with a cosmic ray of light effect, linking Uri's eyes with Michael's mind. A trick of the light, perhaps? Now, this item is very special because you have this connection with the late Michael Jackson.
Correct.
And so this is a photograph of the pair of you together. Where exactly was it taken?
It was taken in my living room. It's a special one because for some reason, we'll call it whatever, paranormal or a trick of the camera, there is a ray coming out from my head straight into his head.
Yeah. Good provenance, that?
Yeah, this is a great picture. Michael was a close friend. He was my best man when I renewed my wedding vows.
So here we go. So £20 for the photograph. I'm bid 20 and 22 I'll take. Come along now. £20 it is. 22, thank you, seated. 25, 28, 30, 2, 35. £35 standing further away at 35. 38, 40, thank you. 45, 50, 5, 60, 5, 70, 5, 80, 5, 90, 5, 100. £100 it is there at £100. Anybody else? At £100 for the Uri Geller photograph. At £100, Uri Geller and Michael Jackson, a good combination. There we go. 110, thank you. 120. No, £120 it is then at 120. You all done? £120 for that photograph, 120, 210, thank you.
What a spectacular result. No doubt thanks to the current demand for anything whatsoever to do with Michael Jackson. But now, we want to be starting something else. It's the bid for Uri's unique mineral and treasure exploration game.
It is 23 years old, mint condition, amazing. And the game itself is fascinating.
What is the thrust of the game?
It's to find hidden treasures like oil and gold and so on. But yeah, whoever is into board games and wants a truly collectible item, this is it.
Well, I think it's an interesting lot. £20 to £40 estimate. I'm just wondering if there's any area into the consumer world in which you haven't branched.
Where should we start this? £20 for a very unusual, rare box lot. £20 to start me. Surely I'm 20, thank you, 22, 25, 28, 30, 32, 35, 38, 40, 5, 50, 5, 60, £60 there. Anybody else want 65? Thank you. 70, 5, 80, 5, 90. One more for the board game at £90. And the gentleman standing there at 90. Are we all done at £90? The hammer's coming down then. £90 it is, thank you, 166.
Good stuff. More than twice John's estimate. Spooky. Now, the next offer is Uri's foldaway bike.
This bicycle is an amazing item because only 50 were made.
With saving fuel and everything. Perfect. So, did you like this bike, John?
I did, but I didn't know all that about it when I pulled it out of the garage, and I put 50 to 100 on it, which seems pitiful now.
I've got a bid on the book, I'm glad to say, at the original £50. So £50 with me and 55 I'll take from somebody else. From the folding bike. 55, thank you, 60, 5, 70, 5, 80. £80 with me at £80 for the bike, 85, 90. £90 with 95.
A few people in the room want it. It's good.
100. 110. £120 it is against you there at 120. Do you want 130? £120 there it is at 120. 130 fresh bidding. 140 you bidding. 140? 140? No, 140.
By the way, they're brand new. Never used.
£140 for the bending bike at 140. Anybody else? At £140 you all done. 140, I'm going to sell it at 140 then.
Uri's bike is meant to break in half. The subject of our next lot was not. The sinking of the Titanic was, of course, a disaster that even Uri couldn't have averted. But how will the period front-page newspaper that Shippy found in the pyramid perform?
There's proof that the front pages were dominated for weeks with stories about survival, tragedy, romance, all sorts. This is framed nicely and something I think will do well. I've said 50 to 100. What do you think, Uri?
Yeah, okay, because, I mean, let's face it, how many of those Daily Mirrors exist? Maybe this is the only one.
What's it worth? Must be worth £40 for the Titanic item, surely for £40, somebody. 40 I'm bid in front of me, thank you, at £40. 45 somewhere else. Do you want 45? 45. 50? £50. £55 here.
I'd love to see people bidding against each other today.
5. 70. 5.
So where are we now?
£80.
5. 90. 95. £95 here then at 95. Anybody else at £95 then for the Titanic newspaper at £95 I'm going to set 100. £110? 110 I'm bid, thank you. At £110 here then at 110.
That's
at 110,
fantastic.
120. 120 it is then, still with him at £120. He's determined, not giving up. At £120 I'm going to sell it then. 120 is the bid. 120, thank you, sir.
We've well and truly beaten Uri's target at this point. But just to make sure we go out with a bang, Uri decides to auction this one off personally. But now we come to the famous decanter, because we looked at this in your dining room on the table, and it was a marvellous decanter that actually has a round bottom on it, a bit like my own, really.
May I auction this away?
Yeah,
Please.
why not? Because it's got a lot of elements in the box, hasn't it?
Yes.
OK, well, rather than us talking about it, off you go.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I think he's coming up to sell it, yes?
You know, interesting thing is, he will do well at this.
Okay.
Okay, this is a very special, look at it, beautiful box, and in it, again, limited edition, handmade decanter. It's cobalt blue. Just so spectacular. What shall I start with?
I should start £40.
Okay, £40. Do I see 45?
£40 upstairs, 45.
45. Do I see 60? 60. Thank you very much. Anyone? 65? Thank you. 65 it is. 70. 75 pounds. By the way, in Harrods, when they were available, they were selling for £400. So, how much are we?
So we're at 75 with the lady.
So it's a bargain.
It is a bargain. I think people don't understand that.
Thank you. 80 pounds. Thank you very much. 90 pounds. 90 pounds. Thank you.
90.
By the way, 110 is my favorite number. 100 pounds. 100. Thank you. And let's go for 111 pounds. 111 pounds.
111.
Anyone else higher than 111, or you get it?
130 from the lady.
130. 135. We've got 135. Okay. All right, we've got 135 pounds once, 130 pounds twice, 140.
Yeah.
140 pounds. Okay, 140 pounds once.
Oh, 150.
Wow.
50.
I love this. 100. So well, how much are we now?
So can we tempt the ladies to go to 160? 160?
160, that's great. Remember Howard, 400 pounds.
170?
170.
180, madam? No?
Okay, 170 once, 170 twice. I'm sending you my mind power. Who is going to go for 200? Come on, it's going to charity, to a good cause, the red cross. Beautiful, 200 pounds. Once, 200 pounds, twice, 200 pounds. 210.
Yes.
Wow, 210 pounds. 210 pounds once, 210 pounds.
220.
How long can this go on?
Well, as long as you like.
So we are at...
So we're at 220 with the lady.
220 once.
230.
230. 230 is now leaving.
And 240?
240? Okay.
No.
230 once, 230 twice, 230 three times.
Yay!
Thank you so much.
Very good.
I'm going to hug you.
A magical touch, I'd say. Well done, That was fantastic. Well done. Brilliant. Back into your little space here. Wonderful.
I think you could get a job on a shopping channel.
No,
I think so.
No, I tell you what, the auctioneer wants to know, will you do this every week? You have to admit it, Uri's one heck of a salesman. And you know, maybe he's invoked a few celestial powers in aid of a very good cause. But it's time to see the effect on our final total. You have got £1,243. Fantastic. I think you'll agree, John, this has definitely been one of the most exciting and most unusual auctions we've ever done in the programme. It's been brilliant.
I'm really flattered.
Have you enjoyed it, by the way?
Yes, I always love being with you. So
No, but
whatever.
you enjoyed the atmosphere of the
Very
auction?
much so. Beautiful people, great. John, you're brilliant too. Thank you.
Good result,
It's been
eh?
a pleasure. It's been fantastic.
We've raised more than double Uri's target of £500 for the Red Cross, and it must be wonderful for him to know that he's helped such a good cause. Events manager Claire Bullen says every little bit counts.
We always need funds and donations for equipment. It's great to have someone like Uri Geller on board because it's really nice that a local person recognises the work that we're doing in the area and can actually publicise the work that we're doing throughout the UK. So it is brilliant.
Now, if you think you've got some antiques and collectibles around your house and you'd like to join us here on Cash in the Attic, we'd love to see you. It's all very easy. Why don't you fill in the form on the website, bbc.co.uk. And who knows, maybe you'll be standing here one day at the auction. See you soon.